Hello, and welcome back. This video is going to cover what happens when the immune system doesn't respond correctly or has an altered response. So we're going to talk a little bit about hypersensitivities and autoimmunity. All right. In the case of hypersensitivities and autoimmunity, you have an increase in the immune response. Okay? It's either responding to something that isn't really a threat, so it's an excessive response. And with hypersensitivities, the two types we're going to cover are going to be autoimmunity, where the antibodies made by the body attack tissues. So you have the attack of self with autoimmunity, and hypersensitivities, where you tend to have antibodies that are released at an inappropriate time or in response to something that's not a threat. And with these two, there's going to be a little bit of crossover and overlap between something that's autoimmune and something that's a hypersensitivity. All right. So don't let that throw you. All right. And the caveat we have with an altered immune response, there are going to be some genetic and some environmental factors that can contribute to autoimmunity and hypersensitivity. Okay, so somebody may have a genetic predisposition to an autoimmune disease, but that's not a guarantee they're going to develop the autoimmune disease, because with the immune system, there's still a lot associated with that we don't understand in how this happens. Now, that doesn't mean you can answer on the quiz, oh, we just don't understand this. That's not going to fly as an answer, all right? What I'm telling you with this is we know some things will happen. We just don't necessarily know the complete etiology of why some of the diseases happen, okay? So what ends up happening with autoimmunity or hypersensitivities, there tends to be some injury that results, all right? Either at a cell or a tissue level, okay? And what that injury does, it's going to trigger inflammation, all right? So a number of the hypersensitivities that we'll talk about, inflammation is really linked to that process of hypersensitivities and what happens, okay? So with autoimmune and hypersensitivities, there is a genetic and environmental component. We don't necessarily know all of the details of that, although I will pick up on some of the genetics associated with this, because there are some genetic risk factors associated with autoimmune disease. So with autoimmunity, which is what we'll kind of start out with here. And I'll probably make a separate video going over hypersensitivities and introduce you to the different hypersensitivities, all right? There are a couple different ways that autoimmunity can come about, all right? One of those is antigenic mimicry, okay? So essentially what happens, all right, you get damage to a cell protein, and what ends up happening is that cell protein now looks foreign. All right? And your immune system is primed to recognize things that don't belong, right? There's a previous video where I talked about MHC and the recognition of self versus non-self. In this case, we're talking about essentially a protein being damaged, so it looks like maybe it's a virus or it's a bacteria or it just doesn't belong. Okay? So with that antigenic mimicry, all right, what an example of that is going to be Guillain-Barré syndrome. Okay? Now, in the case of Guillain-Barré, it's believed to be triggered most likely by viral infection. So something associated with the viral infection damages some of the tissue in the body. In this case, the tissue that is targeted is the myelin that surrounds the axons, okay? So this is a demyelinating disease. And what it ends up doing is antibodies work to attack the myelin sheath around the axons within the body, okay? So that interferes with nerve transmission. That results in weakness and paralysis. With the weakness and paralysis associated with Guillain-Barré, it starts at the feet and it moves anterior, okay? Typically, the individual has to be on a respirator when that paralysis reaches the diaphragm. Because if your diaphragm can't contract, you can't take in oxygen, that becomes a problem, okay? So there's typically a time when the individual is going to be on a respirator, and that then once the individual or the paralysis has progressed past the diaphragm and moves more anteriorly, they can be removed, okay? But it's troublesome for the patient because, you know, paralysis can be tough to deal with emotionally, all right? And with this one, typically the individual does recover from the attack on the myelin. The myelin will regenerate, so it's not like they're going to end up permanently paralyzed. It is a temporary paralysis, but it can be anywhere from several weeks to several months that the disease runs its course, okay? So in this case, what ends up happening, you're damaging the myelin. The body's recognizing the myelin as foreign and is attacking it, okay? So we've got antigenic mimicry as one of our potential ways that autoimmune disease can result, okay? Next, is related to sequestration, okay? So in this case, with sequestration, antigens typically in the body are hidden from the immune system. So they're located in a compartment away from immune surveillance. So the immune system normally would never see those particular antigens. But if the antigen is released from where it's being sequestered, that then can stimulate the immune system to target that antigen and start to destroy it, okay? So this can happen in men associated with a fertility issue. What ends up happening is the body ends up destroying the sperm, okay? You can also have this happen in some cases with women as well, all right? Again, some women, their immune system may recognize the sperm as something foreign. All right? So it can result in reproductive issues for either men or women. In the case of women, it's typically something genetic, and then their body is just hypersensitive to that particular antigen on the outside of a sperm, destroys it before it can ever fertilize an egg. Okay? In the case of men, you're talking about destroying the sperm as they're being produced. If you're not releasing sperm, then you're not going to end up with a fertilized egg and children. Okay? So that's an example of where something might get someplace where it isn't normally. Okay? The thymus is another area where autoimmunity can result, okay? Because with the thymus, this is where T cells mature. And if there's an error in recognizing a self-antigen, so typically what happens in the thymus, when those T cells are produced, some of them may be reactive to self cells. But the thymus has a process to filter those out because you don't want to be attacking your own body, okay? So there's a defect there in sorting out self versus non-self, okay? So typically the thymus leaves the non-self T cells because you want to recognize the things that are foreign. It'll get rid of the self. Sometimes you get an event where where one of those may escape, so you've got a self antigen that will circulate, and when it recognizes that self protein, it'll start targeting it for destruction. Okay? And then we'll briefly kind of go over some of the genetic factors here. All right? So the HLA genes, or MHC genes that I talked about in a previous video, those HLA, that's human leukocyte antigen, major histocompatibility complex. There are some areas of the HLAs that are more prone to being associated with autoimmune disease. Some of those are HLA B27, HLA DR4, HLA DR5, okay? So with the B27, that one tends to be associated with a bone disease called ankylosing spondylitis. DH4 tends to be associated with Addison's disease, so it's attacking the adrenal glands in this case. And DR5 tends to be associated with juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, okay? Now, that said, with a genetic component, there's typically also something associated with the environment that also triggers or goes in concert with the genetic defect, okay? I've kind of run out of board space, so what I'm going to do is end here, and then I'm going to kind of expand a bit more on genetics and also talk about environment in the next video. Thank you for your attention.